Good evening, friends. As every time when I come here, I apologize that I still am not able to understand or express myself in Spanish. Every time I determine I will learn this beautiful language, but after I go back, when I come here, I remember that. But after I go back, then again everything becomes English. So till again I have to come to Puerto Rico, I don't remember, and then there isn't enough time to learn the language. But anyway, there is the translation going on, and many of you understand English, so won't be a very big problem. Every time when I come here, I feel so happy to see the enthusiasm, the interest in spirituality, interest in bringing out the divine splendor in us. And we all are divine, and we know that inside that we are divine. How do we know? Look, we always seek infinite. We seek infinite. If I ask you how much happiness you want, you will not be able to say, oh, this much or this much. How much you want? Infinite, all. How much knowledge you want, how much wisdom you want, you won't be able to say, oh, this much is enough, I want to know everything, I want all. That is the sign that we are actually really infinite. We are looking for expressing that infinite, want to manifest that infinite, and that is already in us. That is why we hear Jesus also saying, kingdom of heaven is within. That kingdom of heaven is within. We are all actually divine, and everybody in one's own way tries to manifest, express that divinity. And today I have been given a very nice topic. I like that topic because when it comes to practicality, we all read nice books, we understand things, and then the question comes how to implement it, how to bring it into practice. I understand how to prepare pasta. I read the recipe, but unless I practice, I will not be able to make it, you see. So we have to learn how to manifest this divinity. And one problem that everybody feels, and that is the topic that has been given to me, and that is ego. I have that problem. Everybody has that problem, that about sticking to our physical and mental personality and thinking that I am that, and feeling that that is great, and other people, they are not as good as I am. I am very good, I am such and such, others are not as good. I am having lot of good qualities and virtues, I can do this and I can do that, and we do not care much about others. So ego is a big obstacle in spiritual life. But the question is, who is going to remove it? If I am going to remove my ego, then another ego comes there. That I am to remove my ego. How can that be done? It is, you cannot remove the black suit of a lamp by adding some more black suit over it. So, this is for spiritual aspirants always a difficult thing, that If I have ego, I understand that everybody has, and that is an obstacle, a problem for the manifestation of divinity. In fact, as a great Sufi saint has said, that had there been no this I, this ego, had there been no ego, I actually was God. I am God. But for the obstacle, this ego comes in the middle, and then I do not see my true, divine, infinite nature. So, this question comes that how to deal with this ego. And one understanding that we can get is this ego has two directions. One is to bind us, to put us in misery by that bondage, and other part is to free us and to thus bring us our intrinsic happiness, intrinsic bliss, make it available to us. So it is the two egos really. There are two-faced egos, or one ego having two faces. One ego has two faces. Like a road, a road goes in both directions. You can go this way or that way. So ego also seems to have these two faces. One that binds us and another that frees us. We all experience this in life. Suppose, just think of it. We all do these things. When I tell somebody, hey, I am superior to you, I want this and I must get this, and well, I don't care if you go to dogs or to go to hell, I don't care. What do we feel by that after we say this? We feel that we didn't do the right thing. If somebody else says the very same thing to us, how do I feel? I don't feel good. But suppose we do the exactly opposite thing. Like that also we do. We do a good turn to somebody. We say some nice words to somebody. When we practice humility, we feel that humility is bringing out something good in us. When we bring that arrogance in us, one side of ego is arrogance. When I bring out that arrogance, I know that I am not going in the right direction. And when I bring out the humility, I see I am going in the right direction. It is same road, both are ego, but one is a good side of it, another is a not good side of it. So, therefore, the great spiritual teachers have told that you have to use ego to subdue ego. To subdue the other ego, you have to bring out the good ego in you. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that look, there are Maya means ignorance is everywhere. Everybody has ignorance, but this has two aspects. That one that binds you more and more, he used to call it avidya maya. Means that maya which pushes you further and further, more and more into ignorance. And more cover is piled up on your true divine nature. And the other part is removing that. actually in reality, since we are actually divine, nothing needs to be done. I am divine, that I have to just see this. Nothing needs to be done. But because there is this cover of ignorance, we have to remove the cover also. There is a story, let me tell you a nice story. There was one that exorcist, what do you call in Spanish, that removes the ghost?
Exorcista.
Exorcistas. He was very famous, and he was called one little girl. She was a ghost. She was caught by a ghost, and then she was all in trouble and thinking, oh, it is. And so he was called to treat her. And after he came there, he saw that there is nothing ghost or anything. She is under that kind of a wrong impression that she has been caught by ghost. Actually there is no ghost or anything. But if he tells it, she is not going to believe. She will say, no, you do not know. Actually there is ghost. Look, see, I feel possessed by a ghost. Look, that ghost is turning my neck, breaking my neck, and is not letting me sleep. I know that ghost is sitting on my chest sometimes. And how do you say that there is no ghost on me? The ghost has possessed me, I can see that. So he knew that that is the case. So what he did was, he said, okay, you have this ghost, Actually I see that you not only one, you have two ghosts. Sometimes you say you feel more pain and sometimes less pain, is it not? And everybody will, starts imagining, yes, sometimes it is more, sometimes it is less. You see, when these two ghosts are fighting amongst each other, and then at that time you feel more pain. When they are both not fighting, then you feel better. So there is not just one ghost, there are two ghosts. And I will take care of it. We will remove these ghosts. And then he did some practice, some little ritual that it is, he lit a little fire and put some mustard seeds and some this and started go. So go. And doing that, see, that one is going away. And go quickly, otherwise I am going to kill you, get out. And so he said to that girl, see, one has gone, now I will remove the other one. For the other ghost I have to do something else. And so he did some other thing. He told, bring a zucchini, bring a lemon, and then cut that, and then poured all that juice of that on the head of that girl. Now see that the other ghost, I know how to get rid of that too. So poured all that, and then see, get out quickly, otherwise I am going to give you a nasty kick, come on. And then that girl, see, that also is going, now you will feel better. And slowly you will feel better, you will be alright, both the ghosts have gone. And then that exorcist nephew had accompanied him. And then he asked on the way back, how did you know that there are two ghosts? And he said, I saw that there is no ghost at all. But if I say that, nobody is going to believe me there. The girl will not get cured. So what I did was, okay, tell her that there is this ghost. So the one ghost, two ghosts fighting. That is why the problem is now. She will feel, yes, really there was ghost and the ghost is gone. So that is how we feel that this I and the world and all this, it is real and I am in ignorance and then I have to get rid of this ignorance. So we are like possessed by the ghost. We think that we have lot of ignorance in us. How much ignorance I have got? I have got some, but this my neighbor has more than I got. As if we are weighing it. I have got 1 pound of ignorance. My neighbor has 3 pounds. So and my wife has 5 pounds. So you can keep on thinking like that. It is we feel that I am ignorant and so I have to get rid of my ignorance. So the sages therefore say, okay, come on, you have therefore these 2 egos. Use one ego to get rid of the other ego. You put one more ego there, get that ego, get hold of this other and take it out. It is, then you will become free, then none of them will be required anymore. You will have neither of them. So, one example Sri Ramakrishna used to give was that if a thorn gets into your heel, and then very painful, thorn going in the heel is very painful. So what you do, you take another thorn, and then with that you take out the first one, and then throw both of them. So the ego who is our enemy, we have to get another ego who is our friend. And then take the enemy ego out with this friend ego. And then tell, now both of you, your job is done. If there is, suppose, a thief, and then that thief stole something, you get police. You call police, then the police may catch the thief, and usually it doesn't happen, but suppose it is, sometimes they catch, occasionally. So it is, and then you say thank you, and then both go away. The thief also goes away, police also goes away. So to remove that thief, you need the police. Afterwards it is, and they are similar, you know. One of my friends was, he became the chief of police in our state in India. A very nice, very intelligent man, and he once came to our Vedanta ashrama there and said, okay, you know, he saw nice books and he said, should I pay for the book or should I just steal one? Because I am police, and police and thief, they are similar, you know. So can I steal one? He said, why we are similar, you know? Because we have to know what those guys do, so that we can catch them. How they do, we have to know that. And therefore, we have to also learn their tricks, that and so that we can catch them. Otherwise, if we don't learn their tricks, we will not be able to catch them also. So, how this ego keeps us bound? Another ego has to be put who can understand these tricks and thus can make us free. So therefore, what is this difference between a thief and a police? Both have to have similar skills. Similar skills. A thief can break the house, a police also knows how to break the house. A thief knows, actually it is, once it so happened, one of our friends locked the key in the car. The key remained in the car, got out, the door was slammed, and then now can't go in. So he was trying to call that AAA, but a policeman was passing by. So what happened? Okay, let me give it a try. And then he did something from the window, put something in, and then opened it. And so, how do you know? You see, we have to learn these tricks, how the thieves do it. So we have to learn so that we will be able to catch them. So the ego also has these two aspects. We have to cultivate this police ego to get rid of the thief ego. We have to cultivate the friend ego so that we will get rid of the this bad enemy ego, friend and enemy ego. See, that is how, suppose you can imagine, that they survive on each other. Suppose there is no thief, no criminal at all. Will there be police? All police jobs will be gone, you see, because they will not be necessary. So it is because there are all these criminals and so forth, we need police also. So if the thieves are not there, if there is nobody who is doing anything bad, anything wrong, think of that, in our mythological stories we speak about an age of truth, Satya Yuga, an age of truth. So where everybody was very well behaved, everybody was nice, everybody was, helping each other, nobody was stealing anything. So there was therefore no police. There was no need of police, so there was no police at all. So when all the thieves inside us will be gotten rid of, then we will not require the other ego also. Both egos will then be gone. The bad ego and the good ego. Good ego will take out and kill the bad ego, and that also will then go away. That also will not be necessary. It is like taking medication. What is this? You have some bacteria inside. So you take an antibiotic. Now that antibiotic is to kill this bacteria. But that antibiotic in itself has many side effects, many bad effects and so forth. Martha can tell you about that. So they have a lot of side effects, bad effects. But if you want to kill that bacteria, you take it, and then when that is gone, you don't take that antibiotic again unnecessarily. You stop that also. Both are stopped. So therefore it is important that since we have this enemy ego, we have to cultivate the friend ego, foe and friend. So how to do that? Lord Krishna, many of you might have read Bhagavad Gita. These teachings are same in all different religions. You will see similar teachings in Bible also, in Quran also. Similar idea that yes, we have to learn humility and surrender to God. Then, and for that we have to learn to control the mind. In Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, and there are 18 chapters in this nice book, very helpful book. Chapter, is specially devoted to controlling the mind. Why it is important? Because we see that many of our problems are because we cannot control our mind. Because we do not control our mind, we say what we should not have said. We think what we should not have thought. We do things which we better shouldn't be doing. This happens because we don't have control. Mind is the great instrument that we have. In fact, the only instrument, most powerful instrument that controls all other instruments is mind. And if we are not able to control mind, then that instrument is not useful for us much. Any instrument that we do not know how to control will not be useful for us. Think of the car that you drive. If you do not control your car, what will happen? Just think. Will that car be useful to you, or it will be a problem to you? It will be a big problem. If you try driving but you don't know, you cannot control it, then it becomes a big problem. Mind uncontrolled is a big problem. Mind under control is a great boon. So, mind under control, a great friend. Mind not under control is great enemy. So, in that 6th chapter, these 4 verses come. That first verse is, it is told to the disciple Arjuna by Lord Krishna that look, you have to lift yourself by yourself. Uddharet atmanatmanam, a great teaching. You can take anybody's help, but main thing is you have to do it yourself. Otherwise, no help will be of any use. If anybody can bring food to you, but you have to eat, is it not? Otherwise, that food will not be of much use. So great sages will give advice to us. They will present their life to us, but we have to make use of it. So that it tells, look, you have to lift yourself out of this mire that you are stuck in. You have to be working for that. Nobody will be able to help you if you are not helping yourself. And that is why that saying goes that God helps those who help themselves. If I am not helping myself, then the God also will be kind of has no this thing, can't do much. And there was this story, a nice man was praying to God. Oh God, please make me get this big lottery. And do you know lottery in Puerto Rico? Do you? Okay. So this man was praying, oh Lord, please make me win this lottery and all, praying and praying. And one day the God came in his dream and said, oh my dear, at least buy the ticket. So, at least buy ticket, you see. Otherwise, I will not be able to help you. So, at least do that much. So, we have to do our part, you see. Buy ticket, at least you do your part. So, this is a very important thing. That Uttaret Atmanatmanam, that by your own efforts first you have to determine, and then that is the biggest help. The God within us, that is most important thing. That is what is going to be very helpful to us. So, first thing is to have self-confidence. That you have to do it and you can do it. The most important spiritual practice is to have self-confidence. If we have self-confidence, then there is chance of success. Not only in spiritual life, in anything. If one is not having self-confidence, then the success is far away. Even if the success is running after that person will run away from success because of that diffidence and not having self-control. The self-confidence, self-confidence that yes, I can do it. I will be able to do it. God is in me. What is impossible for me, I will be able to certainly achieve it. I will certainly be able to do it. Is it not, Alvaro? Yes. We have to have that faith in ourselves. Swami Vivekananda goes to the extent saying that first faith in yourself, faith in God will come later. Have faith in yourself first. What an important teaching. It appears on the surface it sounds like Swami Vivekananda is not telling about faith in God. He is telling him about faith in God in the real manner. If we have faith in ourselves, then my saying that I have faith in God has some meaning. If I have no faith in myself, then my saying that I have faith in God has no meaning at all. Fellow, you are saying this, but you have not faith in yourself. What is the use? That if, suppose I tell you, just to give an analogy to illustrate, that oh, I will give you $1,000, I will do this for you, I will do that for you. All that is very nice, provided I am not a liar, provided I am not a person who goes on telling lies. If I am a liar, then all these things are meaningless. So, if I say, I believe in God, I have faith in God, but no faith in myself, then all the foundation of all I say is gone. So, it is very important, friends, to cultivate this self-confidence. Yes, I can do it. And that first enemy of ours, that first aspect of this foe, ego, the enemy ego, is this feeling, no, I am nobody, I cannot do anything, I don't know, I am always like that, and I don't say that to yourself. That is the biggest lie that you will be telling. We generalize this. Maybe sometimes I tried to do something and I didn't succeed. But then what wrong thing I tell myself? Oh, that's me. I always fail. This is a wrong thing to tell yourself. This once you failed, okay, but then that should teach you why you failed, and then you can remedy yourself. But what a person does not, I do not get right from childhood. The other day a young man had come to me and was telling like this. I was trying to tell that don't say this. A very brilliant student, he is really very highly qualified, brilliant boy. But when this some negative feelings come, that no, I don't know, I cannot do this and that. So then that person loses all initiative, all enthusiasm, and therefore that person now by definition has to keep on failing, is it not? It is, as they say, it is self-fulfilling prophecy that I am a failure. That means whatever I do has to fail now. So let us not commit and this kind of blunder, and let us keep on telling ourselves that yes, I am divine. I can do anything, everything. So with this, then the next verse, Uttare Atmanatmanam, lift yourself by yourself. Never debase yourself. Na Atmanam avasadayet. That don't debase yourself. Don't depress yourself anymore. And then the next line says, see, you yourself are your best friend, as well as you yourself are your worst enemy. Both are you yourself. And then the next verse gives the explanation. The one who has controlled the mind is one's own best friend. And the one who has the mind under control is one's best friend. And the one who doesn't bring mind under control is that very mind then becomes the one's worst enemy. No other enemy can destroy us as much as our uncontrolled mind can. And therefore, then the next verses go how we can control the mind. So this ego has these two facets. That one that is associated with controlled mind, and another is associated with uncontrolled mind. Both have been described in details in various scriptures, in Bhagavad Gita, in Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, like Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna tells. Look, one man says, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is a very useful book. It is in very simple language, giving analogies, very familiar to us. It tells the spiritual truths in a very effective manner. And so, it is good to read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Many of my colleagues, many Swamis that I know, they read at least a little Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna every day before going to bed. Howsoever busy they might be, but before going to bed, they take out that book and read a little bit from that. So, because that book has a very practical advice and told not something in terms of what happened 3000 years ago, but something that is connected to our modern times. So Sri Ramakrishna tells, look, here take this man for who says that this is mine, and then you don't know anything. I know everything. I am very powerful. I can do this and that, and I don't care for God. I don't believe God. I am superior to you, and so forth. Now, what is the status of that person? That person, therefore, does all wrong things. That person, this is not self-confidence, friends. This is ego. This difference must be understood. Self-confidence and bloated ego, not same thing. In appearance, they may look similar, but actually they are not same. It is like a ring of gold and a ring which is plated, colored with plastic ring with golden color. They may from a distance look alike, but they are not same. They are very different. So it is the self-confidence does not debase anybody. Self-confidence does not put down anyone. Ego puts down other people. Ego is after getting more riches, more success at the expense of other people and so forth. Wants to dominate others, that is the ego. Self-confidence, no. It says that, well, if I need to, I can do this and I can do this. All those things which are going to make me better person, I have the strength to do that. That is the idea of self-confidence. But ego tries to dominate over others. So that should not be the case. So Sri Ramakrishna says, look, this person says, this is mine, this house is mine, this is and whereas the other side of ego, the friend ego says, Lord, everything is yours. Lord, you and yours, everything belongs to you. And that is actually just asserting the truth, nothing else. Really, nothing belongs to us. We say that this belongs to us. Even the body doesn't really belong to us. Does body belong to us? Think of it. It doesn't belong to us. Jesus said that very beautiful thing. Can you make even one hair on your head black or white? That also you cannot. Why say that my body? What is going on inside the body? Do you have any idea? Do you have any control? No. It is wrong to say that the body belongs to me. Not really. It belongs to God. House, my house. Is it really my house? The cockroaches in the house, they also say it is my house. That it is, whose house is it? It is not really anybody's house. We keep on saying my house, not really my house. My children, we say my son, my daughter. Do they belong to you? Do you possess them? No, you only take care of them, that's all. That much is alright, but it is, they don't belong to you, they are not your possessions or your property. So, it is therefore the right ego says that, well, God, everything belongs to you, everything happens by your wish. The whole universe runs by your wish. God, I am your servant. Whatever you say that I do, howsoever you guide me, I pray to you, please keep on guiding me. I will do according to what you tell me. That feeling of surrender. Now, because of this, that man or woman, whosoever gets connected to God. Now that is the friend ego, and this is the enemy ego. That I am such a big person, and or the other, I cannot do anything. That also is an enemy ego. That both are enemy egos. Just as mock self-confidence is wrong, mock humility also is equally wrong. Mock humility means it is not really humility at all. It is a sign of depression, that's all. Depression many times poses as humility. It is not humility. So we should be careful about it. It is just as ego is not self-confidence. Similarly, this depression is not humility. Debasing oneself is not humility at all. It is mock humility, false, fake humility. So therefore, one should be aware of these things. So the real difference is to be understood. Connecting with God, that is, our ego then becomes a good ego, a friend ego, connected with God. Now everything is thought of as God's, not mine, God's. And thus this person now sees that everything is happening by the wish of God. See what a great difference. In the beginning I told you it is like a road which goes in both directions. Instead of going in the wrong direction, now you have started going in the right direction. Same road, same ego. Now you are going by that ego. Instead of going in the wrong direction and thus becoming more and more miserable in life, you are going in the right direction, and thus more and more freedom will be experienced. And as we progress more and more in this, slowly we will find that God is manifesting in us. God becomes manifest. The rays or the shine of God comes into us, each of us. It is like this, that if I was telling somebody this example, that if there is a nice, very fragrant flower, say like hasmi flower, and then you hold it in your hand. Now what happens? Your hand gets the fragrance. You are holding the flower, you get that hand also gets the same this thing. If you are holding a rotten garbage in your hand, and then your hand gets that bad odor also. So it is like that with what we associate. That if we associate ourselves with God, that fragrance will come in our life. If we associate ourselves instead with all these transitory things and glorify in that my body, my house, my children, my education, my everything. Even other people get tired of hearing that person, because always my, I and mine. That is the only thing that person keeps on just ranting all the time. It is in a way, therefore they are called I specialists, because keep on talking about I. So they are I specialists. So it is really the duty therefore, or the task before us, is to transform this. Don't kill ego. Don't kill it. Ego is necessary for everything we do. We have to just transform that ego from the enemy ego to the friend ego. If you try to kill the ego, it will not be possible also, and it will become really worse. It will become morbid ego. So instead of making a morbid ego, it is important that we cultivate the friend ego. That is how the conversion, means the conquering of this ego comes up. It is in so many texts it is described that if you are, for example, working for just ourselves, for this body, for the gratification of this body. I am if working only to get more enjoyment for me and maybe for my family and all that. Then what happens by that? Then this ego goes on increasing. Bad ego, the foe, our enemy, becomes stronger and stronger by that. But instead, if we start working for others unselfishly, and that okay, you need this, let me give it to you. Let me serve you as much as I can. Let me do whatever best I can do for you. When you start serving others, then exactly the opposite thing happens. And then that therefore gets called karma yoga, yoga of action. That instead of acting only selfishly, that increases the enemy ego. If we act to serve others, to help others, then this good ego, the friend ego, becomes stronger and stronger, and then this friend ego will kick out the enemy ego, and then you don't need any of them. You go beyond any ego now. Neither the friend ego nor the foe ego. The need for both the egos gets eliminated, and you stand, you remain in your pristine divine glory. I am that. I am divine. That I have no birth, no death. I am beyond space and time. I am really everywhere. I am in all times. It is there is no ego, no ignorance, and no need therefore of a friend or foe ego. Both these things are gone. It is like that removing the ghost, that is, the ghost is also not there, and the rituals therefore they were also not necessary. Both were really because one was there, the other had to be brought in. Because that girl was feeling ghost, so those rituals were put in. So if there is no ghost feeling, that those rituals also are not necessary. So this person gets rid of the enemy ego, and then there is no need further of the friend ego also. This is remembered that our spiritual practices, this is a spiritual practice to cultivate the friend ego. But this spiritual practices has a destination. When that destination is reached, then that practice also is to be given up. That is not necessary anymore. That practice is not required anymore. Like when I had to come to, today I took a flight and came from Providence to San Juan. Now I took the flight. I was anxious if I will be able to make it on time or not, because the connecting time was very little, and so I was a little anxious. But I got it, and so I sat in the aircraft. How long? When it landed, I called Roberto. Roberto, see, I just landed. Now I am not going to sit there after this. I want to get up and come out of the aircraft, because now I have arrived at the destination. And now you don't, in fact you are now restless. Okay, I have to get out of this. So similarly, we take up a spiritual practice. till we reach the goal, we have to go with it. But when the destination is reached, and the destination is reached means there is sign of it, not that it is my imagination. While if I just imagine, oh, the destination is reached, even when the aircraft was on Atlantic Ocean, and let me jump out, it will be disastrous, you say. It is, I have not reached. Reaching when the plane has now come to standstill, it is told now time for you to get up, get out. So that is how when the ego is completely gone, then that other ego also knows that there is no place for it. So you have to at that time one gets rid of it, not before that. So this is the process of understanding ego as friend, ego as foe. We can discuss this a lot, but I want now to give you people some opportunity to speak and express if you have any questions. If you have any question that is bothering you about this, or if you want amplification of certain point that we discussed, then please come forward so that we can meaningfully discuss this idea for a little more time. I know you all people are very busy people, lot of works you have to do, so I don't want to. What, Jaime, you don't have much work? Oh. So I don't want to detain you for too long a time, but please feel free to express yourself and we can discuss those points. Ramon, what question do you have? Huh? No question? Yes, I mean. Who is this God that I am referring to? That's a good question. Anybody has any answer for that? Who is this God that you are referring to? Who is this? Means, do you mean that I should hold that person before you and bring, hey, here is this God that I mean? It is for you, I can hold to you and say, this is the God that I was referring to. It is exactly, that which we all feel within us as I. We all say I am. That what brings out this sense of I am. We have never seen ourselves. Has anybody seen I? No, it is, you cannot see it by your eyes. You cannot hear it by your ears, and yet you are sure of this presence of I. So as God, I was referring to that. There is another way of trying to feel this. This is one way of feeling, God as our innermost reality. My true I, my true identity, who really I am. That is one way of understanding it. Another way is the opposite. What fills the whole universe, the substance in the whole universe. All these different names and forms in the universe, they come and go. On what background do they come? What remains when everything goes away? You can think of that God, that which does not go even when the things come and go. It brings continuity to all the discontinuous things. It is the happiness in all otherwise the suffering that we see in the world. That is what I was referring to as God. One is to understand or feel that in the universal aspect, one is to feel it as the individual aspect. Either way is fine. It is, if you have to show what is Caribbean, what Caribbean I was referring to, just as you asked me what God I was referring to, who is that God? So, what Caribbean I am referring to, do I have to go touching all over the Caribbean? I will not be able to do it in lifetime, you see. It is, but I can show you, here it is in the Puerto Rico, you see that ocean, that sea, that is Caribbean. You can also see from the other places, that is Caribbean. You can go to Dominican Republic again, you can see that. You can go to the Trinidad and other that West Indian islands, you can see it there. So, that is the way you can describe that. So, it is, what is that God that I am referring to, that which appears to us in the form of love, that which appears to us in the form of happiness, that which appears to us in the form of existence, that which appears to us in the form of knowledge. All this is God. Whatever there is in a beautiful Upanishad, Ken Upanishad. Ken Upanishad. The name of the Upanishad is because of this. It begins with this word Ken, means by whom. So there is this question, similar question that you asked. Where is that God? Then the analogy given there, or the statement that it is made, in every awareness you are becoming really aware of God alone. God alone is that which is awareness everywhere. It is, when you go to see a movie, in the movie you see pictures, all the people in the movie, the different scenes in the movie, cars are moving, you see the road, you see the hills, you see this ocean, everything. And if somebody asks you, very similar question that I may ask, where is the screen? The screen that you were talking about, I don't see any screen. Which screen you are speaking about? Then the answer, well, what you are seeing as a woman there, that is screen. What you are seeing as a man there, that is screen. What you were seeing there as a child, that is screen. What you were seeing as house, that is screen. What you were seeing as a mountain, that is screen. What a war was taking place, that is screen. There is nothing else but screen, appearing, screen, appearing as this, as that, as this person, as that person. It is the God that appears in everything. Everything is the appearance of God. God is, just to give an analogy. Analogies, are good to understand, but please don't take it too literally. Then it creates a problem. So, this is We are like the pictures, we all are like the pictures, and the God is like the screen that runs through all these pictures. The pictures come and go. What is real there? It is the screen real there. Suppose I see on the screen that there is a fire, and I decided to, oh fire, let me put the fire out. I take a bucket of water and pour on it. What will happen? Will the fire go away? Only the screen will become wet, that's all. If I see somebody in the on the screen that is doing something bad, trying to murder somebody, and so I take out my gun, I am watching the movie, I take out my gun and shoot that person. What will happen? The screen will get a hole, is it not? So, even through all these pictures, what is reality? That is what I was referring to as this God. Nothing is more real than that. Nothing is more closer to us than that. Is that helpful? Thank you. Any other question? Yes, please.
We've been programmed all our life to develop this ego.
Yes, that is.
You're saying that we need to substitute one thing for another.
Exactly.
So it would be basically a form of detachment.
Yes, you are correct there. That it is since there is one program that is running, you have to put another program which will uninstall that program. It is that is what the sages have done for us, that they have provided these antivirus programs. That it is the virus is otherwise blocking it, so you put another program, and then that program will take it out, take the virus out, and then this program also will have no work to do, you see. So that is, you are correct there, very correct.
That word when I learned that word, or when I realized that word, it helped me a lot.
Yes, correct.
Attach yourself with that program.
Yes.
To go after the car, go after the house.
Yes. So the detachment, that is sometimes this word is to be understood in the right sense. You have understood it correctly, but many times this word creates a wrong impression. That detachment means becoming insensitive. That I told sometimes is one lady in our interfaith meeting, she is a rabbi, very nice lady, so a Jewish rabbi. So she became so upset. Detachment? What is this? So you want to be detached? Suppose I am walking in front of you and if I fall, you will just be detached and not help me? Said, no, that is not the meaning of detachment. Detachment means that I will not get caught into those things. I will act. I will be very sensitive. That sensitivity is to be developed. Detachment has meaning in terms of spirituality only if we can attach also. It is like the switch, you see. If the switch, you want light, you put it on. When you don't want, you switch it off.
You're very correct, because everybody that knows me think I'm insensitive.
No,
because they don't see it from a spiritual.
Yeah, it has to be seen from the spiritual perspective. One has to be, detachment is possible in the spiritual sense only if we have really a strong attachment for truth, for God, for the really loving compassion, all that. We should be, in control. Like when you see, when I sat on my seat in the plane, as long as the journey was going on, I was sitting on the plane. But then when the time came to, get up and come out, and did I say, "Oh my dear seat, I don't want to leave you"? Ridiculous, you see. We don't think like that because we are detached to it. We know that it is impermanent. That is not real. That is not really my seat. I know it is not my seat. I am assigned that seat for the use while journey. That's it. It is not mine. But in the world, what happens is we get attached. You are living in a house, fine, but my house, now you are caught in it. It is like suppose if I had been told that you can sit here on the seat in the plane, but first let me apply a strong gorilla glue to it. Then will I sit on it? I say, no, I don't want to sit there. I want to have the freedom to get up from there. So, what happens with our connections in the world is we get caught. We get stuck into it. That, yes, my son. And then, not that you are doing something very good for the son always, but you get stuck, always worried about it. And that is a big problem that parents automatically get that problem. It is like buying one and getting other for free, you see. You pray for son and that you get. But then the attachment is you don't pay for it, but it comes, you see, automatically. You get it for free. So it is. These things happen, certain things you pay for, certain things therefore. One Swami told, that when people get into marriage, they get 3 rings, And 3 rings? Yeah, two you buy, two you have to pay, third comes for free. What the 3 rings are? First there is engagement ring, then there is the wedding ring, and the third is suffering. The suffering you don't pay for, it comes automatically. So it is. Why the third ring comes automatically? Because we do not practice detachment. And you are very correct there, that if we practice detachment, then this third ring will not come. The suffering will not come. We will do our duty, but we will not get caught. Exactly. Yes. Very good, thank you. Any other question or any other comment?
Ramon,
yes, Ramon.
Ramon mentioned something about the story of Mother Kali. Ramakrishna that was Ramakrishna was like attached to Mother Kali, and then Tatapuri came and detached.
Wow, what a great example he has given, Let me give you a little background of what he was telling about. A great thing. Sri Ramakrishna always was very devoted to the Divine Mother in the form of Kali. And all his spiritual practice was mostly centered around that. His mind had become pure, nothing else in the world attracted him. There was no attachment to anything except this. So, when there came a sage who said, you are a very pure-minded person, Ramakrishna, let me teach you this practice of non-dual Vedanta, where you merge in reality. And Sri Ramakrishna said, oh, I don't know whether I will do or I will not do. My mother knows all. Can I ask my mother and say yes or no? And he thought that okay, he is going to ask his mother actually. But Sri Ramakrishna went into the temple of Divine Mother, Mother Kali, and then came out and said, yes, mother told, yes, that is why I have brought him here, learn from him. And then he said, okay, concentrate now on the all-pervading divine self, that nothing else, all names and forms are unreal, and concentrate on the all-pervading reality. Don't look at the waves, concentrate on the ocean. And Sri Ramakrishna said, well, I cannot concentrate. This teacher thought he is such a pure-minded person, why can he not concentrate? What is the problem? He said, well, Sri Ramakrishna didn't have any problem like my attachment to my cat or my dog or my house or my wife or my husband or so forth. Only one thing, Divine Mother Kali. He said, you know, the form of Mother Kali comes and then I cannot really remove that. And then he said, why you cannot remove? Come on! He took a little bead of glass and then pierced it on his forehead and said that concentrate on this pain here. Concentrate. And then Sri Ramakrishna himself described it. Then again that form of Divine Mother appeared, and then he imagined that there is this sword of knowledge. With that sword of knowledge, he cut that image of Divine Mother, and then nothing was the problem. No, he immersed into that ultimate samadhi, the state of experiencing that all-pervading divine. So, even that little attachment, that also can prevent us from realizing the truth. But it is necessary to get rid of all other attachments. The same idea that we were discussing, cultivate one ego to get rid of another ego, then both become unnecessary. Any other comment? Question? Okay then, thank you friends, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this evening being with you all and discussing such very important spiritual principles. And this is a meditation for me, that and you gave this opportunity to me. So I am so thankful to you all for that. Gracias.